If you are going to travel or, let's say, sail a boat around, this is the most dangerous region of the world right here. This is the Strait of Hormuz. But the entire Persian Gulf has been aflame and ablaze and has seen ballistic missiles crisscrossing its airspace all throughout the Middle East. It's hard to name a country that hasn't been bombed or had some type of catastrophic attack on it in the Iran war. It's been bad and it's led to the death of 14 Americans. Iran is a border country with Turkey, and Turkey is where President Trump was, in this city right there. Ankara is the name of the city. This is where President Trump went to a NATO meeting, and something remarkable happened at that meeting. Donald Trump flew in on this plane and flew out on this plane. What actually happened is that Donald Trump and his team were so worried that the Iranians had a surface-to-air shoulder-fired missile to blow up Air Force One that they stealth snuck Trump off of Air Force One in a food truck, actually. You can see right here, this is the airport catering truck. And they moved, as the media boarded the plane, they moved Trump off of the plane and to a waiting secret military aircraft that has the same capacities or perhaps even more capacities than Air Force One. Who knows? Nobody's ever seen it. Nobody's ever been on it. But anyway, it's back here, and you can see that President Trump was taken to that flight in order to get out of Iranian airspace, or at the very least within striking distance of Iran. So this is a country that needs to be, let's just say, quarantined, right? Controlled. And perhaps that is the actual strategy from here on out. That's certainly what it seems. Donald Trump says he wants total control and a complete blockade of Iran. The U.S. has total control of the Strait of Hormuz. I think we will keep it, says Trump. Our Navy blockade is being called by everyone a wall of steel. And there's nothing Iran can do about it. They have no Navy. They have no Air Force. Their remaining soldiers are unpaid. The IRGC is decimated and fleeing, and their leadership is uncertain at best. They have no money. Their country is shot, and all they have is fake news and 300% inflation, and it's getting worse. Iran is all talk, no action, bully of the Middle East, no longer. Praise be to Allah, says Donald Trump. So what does he mean by this exactly? What President Trump is hinting at is a siege. It's the old strategy that can still be used to this very day, was used obviously during World War II and Vietnam and the GWOT wars, and it's been used all the way through into antiquity, where if you have an enemy and they are surrounded, or at the very least you control, let's say, the high ground and the waterways here, then you can effectively starve them out. Now, I find it very interesting that in these negotiations, which we have followed very closely, the ping pong ball back and forth, Iran is constantly begging to get their money back. America has seized and frozen billions, if not trillions, of Iranian assets around the world. And Iran is constantly begging for those back. If they weren't so hard up for cash, well, maybe they wouldn't be doing that. A siege is when you control what goes into or out of a place that is under siege, and they have no more water, no more food, die of disease or pestilence. There are outbreaks. Nobody can get in. Nobody can get out. And this is effectively what President Trump is doing, an economic siege of Iran. Nobody can buy Iranian stuff. They have no stuff to sell. They have no way to get it into or out of the country. The naval blockade has been very effective. I guess 2 people can close down that waterway. And while Iran can definitely belligerently fire off a drone or a missile and can hit an oil tanker, and nobody wants that, Donald Trump can absolutely lock down Iran's ability to get things. Perfect. POTUS is perfectly content in our current position. He's utilizing modern-day siege tactics. Rather than utilizing ground troops and mass casualties, he neutralizes Iran from range, surrounds them, cuts off their imports and exports, and squeezes them economically. So for those saying nothing is happening, or that Trump needs to hurry up, and that we need a full-scale invasion, you need to understand this approach. Trump is saving countless lives. He's restructuring the global flows of energy and waiting on Iran to collapse economically. The only thing that Iran has going for them is that their handlers also control the U.S. global media. Iran and global media are both assets of a transnational deep state. As Trump highlights below, they have fake news, and Iran is belligerently popping off. We want this. We control this. We've won this and that. Okay. You know, I'm not a huge fan of the Iran war. I'm not a fan of it at all. And if it were up to me, it wouldn't have been fought. It wouldn't have started. But be it that this is where we are, I think it's kind of important to look at the landscape and understand that all the talk doesn't really match up the actions here, which Iran is constantly begging to get their money back and constantly begging to get their oil out. And if they don't do that, well, what exactly are they going to do as a country? I mean, you could say that China and Russia are allied with them, but China and Russia are allied with them in order to get cheap fuel or to buy things from China and Russia. And they can't do that even. They can't get their stuff. They can't ship their stuff, especially the oil. And at the same time, the president and his team are building pipelines crisscrossing and all throughout the Middle East. Scott Bassett just said this week that we're not going to need the Strait of Hormuz. In a year or two, 70 to 80% of the oil flows that went through Hormuz are going to go through pipelines underground elsewhere. Trump highlights below, all they have is fake news. Their only way to fight back is the information battlefield because they already been destroyed in the kinetic battlefield. All they have to do is convince the American people that this is a failure and the U.S. military is losing, Iran is awesome, yada, yada. Ignore their seeds of doubt. Trump says, we are going to siege Iran. We own the strait, and at some point, maybe they'll do something and then get blown away. I don't trust Iran. Why? Why do you say I trust Iran?
I don't trust Iran. Why? Are you saying I trust Iran? I'm the last person that trusts Iran. They've lied to me constantly. We have total control over the Hormuz Strait right now. They don't have control. We have total control. We own it. And at some point, maybe they'll do something and then they get blown away. But right now, we're in a very good position. We have a country that has been the bully of the Middle East for 50 years. It's really 51 if you think about it, right? We've been saying 47 for 4 years. And they're no longer the bully of the Middle East. Thank you very much, everybody.
I guess we'll see, ladies and gentlemen. President Trump on the Strait of Hormuz saying, praise be to Allah. Okay. Some very devious negotiators because they'll agree to something and then they'll go out and they'll tell the press they never agreed to it. They're very dishonest people, says Donald Trump. He says he can strike Iran with great force. We control all of Iran's money and have total control over it. And we're not suffering from any shortage of missile stockpiles. Okay. Trump explodes over Iran. Cash demands. Secret attack on U.S. water supply unveiled in bombshell report. So it's a little tit for tat, back and forth. But President Trump is, I think, happy with the current state of things. Obviously, the markets have stabilized and oil flows have ticked sort of back and forth a little bit, but certainly are not at all-time highs. I don't like it. I don't like $4 a gallon gas. I hate it, in fact. But perhaps it's time to just let this whole region cool off, let cooler heads prevail, and let the wall of steel come down when everything is peaceful and operational again. Who can wait each other out? That is now the game. And so it is a dangerous game, but it is a siege game, and only one nation is surrounded. It's your boy Benny. Like, share, and subscribe.